On this week's Most Craved,
we're dedicating an entire episode to that web-crawling menace, Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, friend or foe? Friend. Friend.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's Most Craved. I'm Jenna Busch with Legion of Leia.
I'm Silas Lesnick with ComingSoon.net.
And I'm William Bibbiani with CraveOnline. What? You expecting something? What?
Yes.
Spider-Man episode, everybody. Come on, let's do this.
This has been a huge week for comic book news with the announcement that Spider-Man's going back to Marvel.
Yay!
Wow, well, sort of going back to Marvel.
What we know
Functionally.
right now is that Sony and Marvel have worked out a deal. It's been officially announced. Spider-Man's going to appear in a Marvel Cinematic Universe film, which is probably, but not 100% confirmed, Captain America Civil War, and then we'll get his own film in 2017.
Pushing back all of the other releases.
Most of them. There's this immediate push. I guess they don't want them to be all too tight-knit together. I think this is great.
I also think this is great.
I think this is awesome because in April of 2014, Spider-Man producers Avi Arad and Matt Tolmach both said we would not even do a crossover with Marvel until we had run out of ideas of what to do with Spider-Man.
Which they obviously did.
Maybe you shouldn't have said that because that sounds bad. But I think it's awesome. I think Sony came out of the gate really, really well with the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, which I know some people aren't the biggest fan of anymore. I still think they're great to varying degrees. But what the Spider-Man movies did was they really brought superhero movies into the mainstream. Like the X-Men and the Blades and all of those, they were seen as good action movies. Spider-Man brought romance and pathos and drama into it and became sort of this figurehead for what superhero movies could be. They could be embraced by all demographics. They could be this huge blockbuster event and not just another cool action movie. And I think we sort of fell away from that with the Amazing Spider-Man films, and I think Marvel has a sense of gravitas towards their characters that we need to make Spider-Man meaningful again.
Yeah, well now an issue here is, are we going to tell his origin story yet again for the third time in 13 years? We probably have to because we're going to have some explanation as to where he came from in the Marvel Universe.
I don't think we do, honestly.
I hope
think
we don't.
Everybody knows it. We can just
Everybody
have a new
knows
story
it.
and catch up, especially if he's going to be introduced in Captain America or in another film. That's obviously not an origin story.
Well, hang on a second, because they say he's going to be introduced in that movie. That doesn't mean he's going to be one of the main characters. My theory, and actually this would be really, really cool, and it's just a theory, it's just my thought. You do Captain America Civil War, which is really in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, has nothing to do with secret identities, has even less to do with Spider-Man. You do that whole movie like you were going to do it, and then the post-credits teaser is there's a field trip at a college. Kid gets bitten by a spider. We don't even need to see his face if you haven't cast him yet. And then that's it.
Well, that totally would work.
That gets it out of the way, and then you have fully fledged Spider-Man in his own movie.
But here's another thing. A bunch of people online have been talking about which Spider-Man this would be. And
Right.
could it be Miles Morales? Now, I mean, if we're going to do an origin story again, if we have to, if there's some way we have to get that in there, it would be nice to do it with someone new. And I would love it to be Miles Morales. That's been a really popular thing online, people talking about that. It is a different origin, well, sort of different origin story. It also is possible that you could see Peter Parker in Civil War, have him killed off, and then introduce Miles Morales in a new film.
I cannot imagine that not feeling like a cheat, though. We get Peter Parker in the Marvel Universe for less than a film, and then kill him and replace it.
Team Morales.
I'm saying just introduce Miles Morales if that's the case. Or
I would love that.
Or wait, how did Miles Morales get his powers again? Wasn't it like a blood
It was,
transfusion?
well, there was blood stolen, and then there was a spider in his backpack, and
Okay, so here's what you do. Andrew Garfield shows up very briefly in Civil War. He dies, and he gives Miles Morales a blood transfusion, and then boom, we're good. Anyone who liked the Amazing Spider-Man movies is fine with it, and we just pretend all the villains never existed.
Honestly, the coolest thing for me to be would to be the scene where he reveals himself and have it be Tobey Maguire, and then have.
yes,
That would be totally great.
that would be magic.
I'm fine with Miles Morales coming back, but I've heard a lot of people saying that Marvel finally gets Spider-Man back, and they're going to go with the Miles Morales version, it's some sort of
version.
It's a cool version, but I think people want to use the iconic version of the character.
Strictly speaking, the
Yeah.
press release that Marvel announced does refer to Peter Parker.
Well, there
in
you
the
go.
press release.
There you go. But that doesn't preclude Miles Morales from coming around,
Right.
getting his own live-action show, spin-off movie. They've got Spider-Man now. They're sharing it with Sony, but they get to basically spearhead it and make it work.
It also doesn't preclude making it Peter Parker and still having it be a minority.
Yes,
That's
that's true.
true.
That's true. Donald Glover. Sorry.
Donald Glover's 31 years old now.
I know,
They want to
I know.
skew younger.
Because I mean, that's one of the great things about the Ultimate Comics is seeing the like really young Peter Parker with the rest of the Avengers, and we have an older set of Avengers now. Are there any names that have popped up to you guys that have stuck out as that would be a great Peter Parker?
No, I don't
Not
really like the young
really.
actors that are. No, that's not.
You
That's an
don't like
exaggeration.
anybody younger
No,
than
that's an exaggeration.
25?
I would have loved Donald Glover to have done it five years ago.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I
He would have
would
been
have too.
awesome. I heard Dylan O'Brien, a young actor I really quite like. He was in The Maze Runner. God, I hope I'm getting that name right. But I think he's good. I heard Logan Lerman, and I can see it,
Well,
but
he was
he's
up
not my
for
number
it
one.
before.
Yeah.
But one of my troubles with Logan Lerman is he's almost so perfect for what we picture
Right.
that it's
Yeah.
kind of bland at this point, having
Well,
it be the third iteration
Right.
of.
And yet we got excited when Benedict Cumberbatch was like really on the nose casting for Doctor Strange.
It's true. I mean, it would be interesting to see if we did go with a minority, and I honestly think that's a good idea.
It'd be a great idea.
One of the somebody had said to me once that they loved Spider-Man because he could be anybody really once the mask is on, and I think that's kind of cool. And Donald Glover was part of the inspiration for Miles Morales as well.
Yeah, everyone
so
thought Donald Glover would make a great Spider-Man, so they helped.
if we don't do an origin story, could we pick it up when he's a little older? How about that?
Well, I think what they need realistically is Daniel Radcliffe, and not literally Daniel Radcliffe, but who
But that,
Daniel
yeah.
Radcliffe was to Harry Potter. I want to see a Spider-Man that for the next 10 years appears in a whole bunch of films, and we see growing up to become an older Peter Parker.
It's
Yeah.
really interesting because they always say that when they do like a Spider-Man movie. So we want to start him off like really, really young. And they said that for like Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah, we want to show him in high school. We don't want him to grow up super fast. And then he graduates in the first scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
commit.
wasn't the only problem with Amazing
No,
Spider-Man
oh God,
2.
if that was the only problem with Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'd been fine. Say what you will about Spider-Man 3, it didn't send Sony screaming back to Marvel saying, help us do our franchise. But no, I mean, I agree the idea of a younger Spider-Man is good. That's something that the Marvel Universe is really lacking in its cinematic version is younger characters. Spider-Man fulfills a lot of needs that Marvel doesn't have. You got a younger character. You also have a street-level character, which really they're only focusing on Netflix shows. All of their big movies are big world-spanning, terrorist-fighting, alien invasion killing superheroes. And here's a guy who's some of his most iconic stories are about how he hasn't eaten today, and damn it, the Rhino is still just won't stop robbing banks, and Aunt May is sick. Like, we don't have that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah.
and Spider-Man could be great.
And could theoretically influence the Netflix shows as far as the
Absolutely.
Daily Bugle and what we see on those.
Yeah, there could be crossovers of all sorts.
I will say this, J.K. Simmons should stick around.
One of the offbeat names that popped in my head I was thinking about what I want to see from Spider-Man is Tony Revolori from who was Zero and Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, he was
He'd be
amazing.
fun. He'd be fun. He's a fun actor.
It's simply
Yeah.
in my head when I pictured primarily the Ultimate version of Spider-Man. I love the like very short Spider-Man next to like Iron Man or Captain America.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there's that dynamic in Grand Budapest that fits that so well.
I could see that. That'd be totally awesome. Hey,
I vote for your idea.
let's do it. Tony Revolori. Tony, call us. We know
He
people.
actually, I tweeted it and he responded. I didn't even tag him or anything, and he was like, I do it like.
Oh, good.
So he's in.
He's in.
Marvel.
He's totally in.
We cracked
Cast
the
him.
case. Tony Revolori is going to be Spider-Man in the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Tweet us. Let us know what you think about these new Spider-Man developments. And yeah, most craved.
See you next week.
The whip.
Most craved.